260 animals, as many as we possibly can. We rehabilitate and return to the wild. That isn't always possible. There are times when the animal is not fixable. Sometimes we have to euthanize, and in some cases, these animals become educational animals for licensed facilities like ours. So I do have unreleasable animals to show you today. They are all federally licensed. I actually have several federal permits for the different animals, and they are permanents. These are not animals that are going to be released. It's illegal to show releasable animals to the public because when you're taking them out in public, you're socializing them. A socialized animal is not good in the wild. So for legal purposes as well as reasonable, the animals that you see will never be rehabilitating animals. So with that in mind, I'm going to start out with one of my very favorite rodents. You're going to have to bear with her. Sometimes she gets a little squirrely, but I think you'll enjoy her. You weren't supposed to get it that fast, okay? This is Lucy, and I'm going to go see if she wants to cooperate with us. This squirrel wouldn't even make it a few months out in the wild. So that's why she's with us, and that's why she's an educational animal. And obviously, everything that I've done with her to get her used to me, to handle, to be able to take her out in public, those are all the things you cannot do if you're going to rehabilitate an animal in order to release it for the wild. Now, I'm going to take a quick moment to mention why people shouldn't try to raise animals themselves. A lot of people will find a little baby squirrel or a baby raccoon or even a fawn, and they're very cute, and everybody wants to take care of them. They want to take care of them and play with them and, have them sleep in bed with them and let them lay on the couch with you. These are not characteristics that are going to help this animal when they're older and they need to go out in the wild. This last year, I have taken in probably 6 fawns that people kept as pets. And either they physically damaged themselves trying to get away from the people to the point where they had broken legs, they had to have pins put in their legs, they had to have surgery done. I had one little boy who had his forehead pretty much mangled. I'll spare you the details. It took 4.5 months for his forehead to heal because people wanted to keep him as a pet. I had several others come in that nothing physical wrong was done to them. They were physically cared for properly, except they grew up thinking that they were house pets. And a buck in your house is not a good thing. And at a certain point, the humans realized that they couldn't keep this beautiful little fawn on their couch watching TV with them, and they sent it out. Now think about the fawn's point of view. Here he thinks he's going to live his whole life on someone's couch, and suddenly he's outside. It's scary. There's leaves crackling. We had to put him in a pen with other fawns. He had never seen other fawns before. He didn't understand the whole herd mentality. The way deer survive is by relying on each other. So one of the things that we try to do as part of our education is explain why it's best not to try and do it yourself. If you are trained, if you're interested in learning and getting trained, that's different. But if you just find an animal and you want to keep it just because you found an animal, that may not be the best thing for the animal. And yes, it's cute, I'm not going to lie, but you have to set aside what's best for the animal and separate that from what you want to do and what you think is best for you. And it's a hard thing, and I'm not going to tell you it's not. It's hard turning things over when they're cute and fuzzy. But we have a very high success rate as far as returning animals to the wild. And I actually have to apologize to Lucy sometimes. She's never going to climb a tree. Imagine a bird that can't fly. I can never let my birds fly free. That's not the life that is best for them. Now in Lucy's case, she wouldn't have a life if she didn't stay with me. So I try to give her the best life I can. And yes, I get her out and I handle her and I snuggle with her. She's trying desperately to hide under my hair. I'm trying not to let her, otherwise you won't see that there's a squirrel up here at all. But I do try to give them the best life that I can, but it's not the same as the life that they would have in the wild. And so I do have to try to explain that to people up front, just so you know the differences between wild animals and captively held animals. Now, at some point in time, they are going to hand out brochures some out. If you go to the website listed on the front, you'll see lots and lots of pictures. I have pictures of the animals that we rehabilitated last year. Obviously, I do not have, pictures of all 261. After the first few squirrels, the other 126 squirrels pretty much look the same. So I don't actually give you pictures of every single one. But if you want to see some of the animals that come in, some of the conditions that some of the animals come in, and my little boy that I was telling you about that had the forehead that was all messed up, that took 4.5 months to heal, I have before pictures and after pictures, so you can see how well he did in the end. And he was successfully released, and he does live out in the woods behind our house, and I do see him on occasion, and he's doing very well. But squirrels, let's get back to squirrels. Lucy said enough deer talk, let's get back to squirrels. Squirrels, there's a lot of very interesting facts about squirrels out there. There are 300 varieties of squirrels in the world. Now there's 3 categories of squirrels. You have the flying squirrels, you have tree squirrels, and you have ground squirrels. Lucy is an eastern gray squirrel, and this is the most common squirrel that you'll find throughout the United States. Now there's fox squirrels, those are the reddish ones, those are very common as well. But these, by far, are the most common in the United States. So I'm sure everybody here has probably seen one, maybe not so close up. I have been very amazed by learning all the little things that make up what Lucy is. As I said, her nails are very sharp, and she needs that to climb up and down the trees. Her teeth continually grow, and they're very sharp, and they need to be like that so that they can get into the nuts that they normally eat. Can you imagine a walnut? If someone handed you a walnut, what would you do with it? You'd have to get a nutcracker, a hammer, somebody to help you. Squirrels, little itty bitty tiny squirrels, have to open those nuts all by themselves, and that's where their teeth come in handy. Now, the tails are very cute. I happen to really like squirrel tails. Now, she doesn't have her tail fluffed right now, but when her tail is fully fluffed, she can use it as an umbrella. She can use it as a blanket. When she curls up and goes to sleep at night, she curls her blanket over her, and she stays nice and warm. They also have a very complex language, and it involves a lot of tail shaking. Have you seen squirrels up in the trees, and they're chattering, and their tails are just flicking back and forth, and you know somebody's getting told off? Well, that's one of the ways that they communicate is with the tails. Now, the tails can be used to warn other squirrels that there's danger in the area. They can also be used to warn other squirrels to stay out of the area, because this is my area. So they have a lot of things that they do with these tails.
Red tail?
Yes, yes. Definitely a red-tailed hawk. Now, I'll see whether I can turn him around. There.
I think you're right.
That is his red tail. And he's finally got a good one. I don't know why, but he keeps getting the ends all messy. And I take him out in public, and then I have to apologize because his tail looks funny. Now, these birds do not rely on their hearing. I said that owls sometimes can be released if they only have one eye. A hawk uses their vision completely. These guys can hover a mile up in the air, and they can see a brown mouse on brown grass. Their vision is 8 times better than humans. Now, there are 3 categories of hawks, and the smallest, fastest ones are the falcons. Have you ever heard of a peregrine falcon? Yeah. Those are little birds. They're very, very fast. They are so fast, in fact, that their major food source is other birds. They can fly faster than the other birds. That's why they're used in New York to try and help with the pigeon category is the accipiters. They're a little bit bigger bird. They have rounded wings, shorter rounded wings. These are the birds that can fly through the woods. They're very maneuverable. So these are the ones that will hunt in wooded areas. The third category is the buteos. These are the largest category of hawks. These are the soaring hawks. They have the big broad wings, and they're the ones that you see just hanging in the air. They catch the wind drafts. They can stay up there all day long with using very little energy on their part to hunt. This is a buteo. The red-tailed hawks